Hi, and welcome to Module 5. This module will take on the issue of philosophy of religion. It will specifically, basically, it's what we would call a second order study in philosophy. It's maybe part of metaphysics, but it basically takes on religion and tries to analyze it from a philosophical perspective. It is not a theology section. It is not advocating for any position in religion. It's simply taking traditional concepts of God and trying to analyze them in a philosophical way, asking the question of, is this concept of God consistent? Now, keep in mind that this section falls over the Thanksgiving break. There are 4 weeks, and it is a good amount of work for these 4 weeks. But Thanksgiving does fall in the middle. That could be both positive and negative for you. It would be negative if you have lots of family and events and you're going somewhere. And it could be positive because sometimes, sometimes I find, having a few days off around Thanksgiving and relatives around may make it actually easier with childcare and other things. And so it's kind of just one of those. But keep that in mind as you're making your plans and trying to keep in mind that this module ends right after the Thanksgiving break. And so, if you have a lot of stuff going on for Thanksgiving, you might kind of just set an arbitrary, like November 23rd is the due date and try to get everything done by then. As far as this goes, we will begin this unit by talking about the concept of God, God's attributes, God being one and all-powerful and all-knowing, things like that. But then we also begin to look at questions of arguments for the existence of God, against, and then we look at, maybe the problem of evil, which is sometimes considered an argument against the existence of God, but it's really an argument against the concept of God, and talk a little bit more about that later. But basically, the idea here is it's looking at, what is God and why does God allow evil in the world? Most of what we do in philosophy of religion tends to focus on Western traditions, that being Christianity, Islam, Judaism, sort of the Judeo-Christian Islamic traditions, because to a certain degree, Western philosophy it grew up around those religions, and so that's where the focus is. And so the philosophy and the analysis tends to focus on a concept of God that's consistent with those religions rather than Taoism, Confucianism, etc. And so keep that in mind. We will have a section thrown in at the end in which we will talk about Eastern religions. And so that kind of gets in there at the end. It doesn't go into great depth, but we do have a world religions course, which is I teach next semester. And I personally think it's an interesting course. And so, if you're more interested in other religions, then that's a great course to take. It won't be much about the philosophy as much as just studying religion and what each one believes. All right, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me.